melody reminds me of who I need to be, and I wonder why I feel this way, and all those simple things that I cannot see. Can you help me find my way back to my soul? Once again I'm lost inside. Think I'm about to lose control.
Hi. It's like, come on, just tell me what you want to do.
How are you? Good, staying out of trouble.
Make sure you get that wide angle.
Smile! One more!
Help me find my heart, 'cause to me it's just dead end. Let me be the man who found sanity. The wind blows in through the trees again as it whispers the things I need to hear.
You know, I was very humbled to be asked to be here today, having spent the last 25 years in various roles as a first responder, as a police officer, as a paramedic, as a volunteer firefighter. I was really privileged when Lindsay asked me to speak. I think what we need to recognize is the critical work of this group and many of the groups that are represented here today. You know, 22 veterans every single day, and the videos inside, you should definitely take a look at Project 22. It's really a remarkable piece of work. But essentially, the 4 hours that we spend out here today, on average, there'll be about 4 veterans who, by their own hand, will commit suicide, 22 every day. The amount of work that's being done out here, non-for-profit organizations, we need to do a better job taking care of our veterans. The work that's being done here really needs to be highlighted. Organizations like this really need to be promoted. And actually, Lindsay and I met through social media, and the power of social media is really remarkable. But what I'll say is this: the same statistics that we see with our veterans really work across the board with our first responders. About a third of our veterans who served in the Middle East and in Iraq and Afghanistan, 33% or so are suffering the effects of PTSD, and those are really only the numbers that we know about. And it's largely underreported, partially because of the stigma associated with it, partially associated with traumatic brain injuries, which are closely related to PTSD itself. Same is true for our police officers, our firefighters, our EMS workers. The rates at which they are suffering PTSD and attempted suicide and successful suicide are exponentially higher. So we cannot rely on the government. We cannot rely on our elected officials. This is not a Republican or a Democratic choice. This is a human choice. This is about us looking out for each other. We owe it to ourselves. We certainly owe it to those that put themselves on the line every single day, both protecting our homeland here and abroad. So on behalf of myself and my campaign, certainly on behalf of Spirit's Promise, we thank you all for being here today. And all I ask is that you just think about your fellow man, think about what we can do, and think about the veterans and the first responders who are dedicating to our protection. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Okay, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to showcase our empowerment program. And we have different stations set up. We're going to show you what we do to help people just to kind of like, just to give them some peace. That's all anybody wants. If you ask me what my intention is for the day, it's always to find peace. That's it. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Marissa Striano, and I am the owner and founder of Spirit's Promise. Here at Spirit's Promise, we have a program called Promise of a New Spirit. It is our empowerment program. We help people deal with their PTSD because it blocks them from their joy and they need to move through it. So one of our exercises is we take kickballs and we put values on them. So we put words like anxiety, trust, love, money, body image, empowerment. We put enlightened, transformed, put positive and negative. We ask people to hold the horse by the lead and pick up 6 balls, 3 positive, 3 negative. It is obviously too much to carry 6 kickballs and a horse on a lead, so they have to drop one. Are you going to let go of love? Or are you going to let go of anxiety? Which one are you going to let go of? And that's a very conscious decision. So it's 9 out of 10, it's usually a negative. But sometimes people do drop a positive. They say, I don't have time for love. I don't care about making money. That gives us an insight to who they are. Then we set up 3 buckets. Sometimes, always, never. And they have to put in, how often are they angry? How often are they happy? How often do they care about money, their job, their family? And then they get to see what they are in more of a personification of their value. It's an extremely enlightening experience because people don't realize how anxiety plays such a role in their life and how big noises play such a role in their life, and people who yell or traffic. Or we had one woman who said that, well, I can't stand the fact that, people are so rude. Can you write a ball with rude? And I said, you can, here's a marker. She goes, I hate that. It bothers me so much when people are rude. It reminds me of my grandmother. So it goes back to things that have affected us in our lives that play a part on our PTSD. We also have another exercise called the sheetrock game. We ask people to write down what keeps them from moving forward or keeps them from their joy in life. It could be anything. It could be a phrase. It could be a particular word, an action, anything, even a name. The first volunteer came forward and they wrote down speeding tickets. Apparently she's a fast driver. So either that or she's late to work all the time. So she wrote down speeding tickets. So she she took Spirit. Her job was to get Spirit's hoof onto the word in the middle of the hula hoop to see his reaction. So he goes over to speeding tickets and he starts pawing at the ground and he tries to flip it. And she was so excited that he was excited and he started to flip it even more and he started digging dirt on it. And she's like, yeah, that's how I feel about speeding tickets. And that brought that emotion to the front. And she said, that's amazing that he knew that. He was going off her energy, which is all we have to go with in life is our energy. So speeding tickets are her trigger. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like being told that she can't go fast because she's late for work. The second one was frustration. Frustration, a little boy wrote frustration. I held the board while he wrote the word, which I found amazing that he just did that word. He was probably like around 12, I would think. And he went over and he says, I have a lot of frustration. He put it in the middle of the hula hoop. He didn't even have to guide Spirit. Spirit went right over and he actually tried to step on the word. And the boy looked at me and he said, wow. He just looked at me like, wow. And he was trying to paw again at the word, knowing it was a negative. He knew that the word was a negative and needed to let this little boy know that he didn't approve of the word either. The third one was rude drivers. She said, I can't stand rude drivers, texting drivers, people that cut you off, people that are on the phone. And Spirit went over to that hula hoop, did the same thing. Try to drag dirt onto it so he could bury it. Don't worry about rude drivers. That's their stuff, not yours. That's what I feel that he was trying to say. And she was amazed as well. And the last one was anger, and that was a gentleman who said he has a really big problem with anger. An ex-veteran who came over to the Word and said, "Come on, Spirit, step on it. Get it, Spirit, get it." And Spirit just sat his foot down in it as if to say, firm and strong, you're angry. We have to fix this. We have to help you deal with it. So he says, what do you think that means? I think that it means that he wants you to pay attention to your anger. Pay attention to it. The other ones are all being buried, but the anger must be dealt with. Everything else that you deal with in life, sometimes it's other people's stuff. That's your stuff to deal with, not mine. My stuff is mine. When you come in contact with people who have anger issues because they're screaming at you, it's really never about you, it's about them. When Spirit put his foot long and hard on that piece of sheetrock, he was trying to explain to that man that you have to figure out a way to work through your anger. Work through it. I love that exercise because I love any exercise where you can see words, where you can say them out loud, because we live in a very silent world. We live in a world where everybody thinks they're alone, but everybody's suffering alone together. The horses here give people a chance to understand that it's a choice to forgive. It's a choice to move on. We need to move on in our lives. We need to be happy, because happiness is a choice, love is a choice, being content is a choice. We have to seek help. If we are not joyful at least 4 days a week, we need to seek help. You're allowed to have a bad day once in a while, but it can't define you.
Somehow, some way, help me back to where I need to be. And now, help me find my